Once upon a time there was a Velveteen rabbit. He was fat and bunchy. He had brown and white spots, real thread whiskers, and pink satin ears. He sat in the top of the boy's stocking on Christmas morning. The boy loved the rabbit. They played together every day. Then at night, after the boy fell asleep, the rabbit would snuggle close to him all night long. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy. From time to time, the boy played with his other toys, the mechanical toys that were full of modern ideas, a model boat, a lion with legs that could bend, but he always came back to play with the Velveteen rabbit. The rabbit did not notice how shabby his velveteen fur was becoming, or how all the pink had rubbed off his nose where the boy had so often kissed him. One toy had lived in the nursery longer than any other. He was called the Skin Horse, and he had belonged to the boy's uncle. The Skin Horse was very old. He was also very wise. He understood all about nursery magic and often talked about being real. "What is real?" asked the rabbit. "Are you real?" Real is what a toy becomes only after a child has loved it for a very, very long time. The horse replied, "And yes, I am real. The boy's uncle made me real many years ago. Being real lasts forever." The rabbit wished he could be real too. And so time passed. The boy and the rabbit played everywhere together. Once, when the rabbit was left out on the lawn after dark, the boy's nanny had to go out with a light to find him because the boy could not sleep without his rabbit. "What a fuss you are making for a toy," she grumbled as she wiped the rabbit clean. "He isn't a toy," said the boy, sitting up in bed. "He is real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy. He was real. The boy himself had said so. The boy often took his Velveteen rabbit to the woods near the house before going to pick flowers. The boy put him in a cozy place. One day the rabbit saw two rabbits that looked just like him. They crept up close, twitching their noses. "Why don't you get up and play with us?" one asked him. "Can't you hop?" "He can't," said the other. "He has no hind legs. He isn't real at all." "I am real," the rabbit cried. The boy said so, but the other rabbits hopped away. Weeks passed, and the little rabbit grew even more shabby, but the boy loved him just as much. Then one day the boy became ill. His face grew flushed. His body was so hot it burned the rabbit when the boy held him close. Strange people came and went, and the light burned all night. The Velveteen rabbit lay under the covers without stirring, afraid someone might take him away if they found him. He knew that the boy needed him. The boy was sick for a long time. He was too ill to play, and the little rabbit found it boring with nothing to do all day. But he waited patiently for the boy to get better. As the boy lay half asleep, the rabbit crept close to the pillow and whispered in his ear. He talked to the boy about how they would go into the garden and play games together, just as they used to, as soon as he was well again. At last, the boy got better. The doctor ordered the room to be disinfected. All the books and toys and bedclothes had to be gathered and burned. "That toy rabbit is full of scarlet fever germs," said the doctor. So the gardener put the rabbit into a sack along with all the other things that needed to be destroyed. The gardener knew he should make a big bonfire right away, but he was too busy. He decided he would burn the sack first thing the next morning. After the gardener had gone, the rabbit crept out of the sack. He shivered. He was used to sleeping in a warm bed. His coat had become so thin from hugging that it didn't protect him from the cold. He thought about the boy. The rabbit was so lonely. A tear trickled down his shabby nose and fell to the ground. Where the tear landed, a flower appeared. The blossom opened, and out stepped a fairy. "I am the fairy who takes care of all the playthings that children have loved," she said, "and I make them real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the rabbit. "You were real to the boy. Now you shall be real to everyone." She picked up the rabbit and flew to the woods. "I've brought you a new playmate," she said to the wild rabbits as she set the Velveteen rabbit down. Without thinking, the Velveteen rabbit lifted his back leg to scratch his nose. Then he realized that he had hind legs. He had become a real rabbit at last. Autumn passed, and then winter did too. In the spring, when the days were warm and sunny, the boy went out to play in the woods. 2 rabbits crept out to peek at him. One of them had brown and white spots, and an expression in his eyes that seemed strangely familiar to the boy. "Why, he looks just like my old rabbit that was lost," said the boy, but he never knew that it was really his old Velveteen rabbit, who had come back to look at the child who had helped make him real.